I work with people of all ages. Some people say, how am I going to run around after the grandkids? My energy levels are really, really low and I don't know why. I know I need to look after myself better. How the hell do I do this? You know, I want to carry on doing exercise. I don't know what I'm doing. People of all sorts, but you know, in the end, what sort of brings everyone together is they all want to eat more plants. They all want to have a balanced, filling diet. They want to learn about how to make really delicious food. Like, food should be enjoyable. And that's why, you know, I'll say people love working with me, because, you know, this isn't just, you know, what's a balanced diet. It's like, yeah, let's enjoy this really banging food that's going to give me pleasure for the rest of my life. And my mum lost like 5 stone. Wow. My dad is winning matches for his county. He's like a veteran tennis player for his county. Those lies really upset me, because actually eating these products is causing huge amounts of, you know, preventable diseases, you know, heart disease, type 2 diabetes. In the end, you know, whether we're talking about personal relationships, business relationships, we can always come from love in those. And I think that's just, you know, we all need that reminder, you know, often every day for that as well, with the world we live in. It reminds me, you know, just how much uniqueness everyone has, and how much potential everyone has. And I think we're very encouraged to be critical of ourselves and of other people. And it's just, I just think we need to remember our own genius as well, and how much there is, and, you know, how much we need to appreciate that in other people and tell each other more, you know, actually, like, you're amazing at that thing and you are just amazing generally. And I really appreciate your difference to me. I really appreciate what you're able to do, and that's beautiful. And that's, yeah, that track always reminds me of that.
Vegan123. Welcome to the 123 show with me, Berty Justice. Today my guest is Vanessa. Hello, Vanessa.
Hi, Berty. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for your time. It's going to be awesome, hopefully.
It will be.
So for those that don't know, Vanessa is a plant-based health coach, educator and speaker who helps people get high energy and healthy weight with delicious plant-based food. She has a coaching business called Energise Thrive Plant Based. She was a co-founder of the established recipe website, The Vegan Larder, and has been featured on Sky News, LBC and BBC as an authority on plant-based eating and healthy eating habits. She currently works with people to transform their health, energy, and weight with delicious plant-based eating. So Vanessa, what I like to do with my guests, first of all, we start the show with a track. So from the tracks that you've given me, could you let me know which one you'd like to play first?
Yes, I'd love it if you could play MC Yogi, Give Love. I first heard this song when I was having a very stressful time, and my brother, who I love very much, and he lives in Australia, I haven't seen him for a while, played me this song, and it really reminds me to be kind, even when I'm feeling very angry, which we all get. And I think it's just sometimes very important for us to connect with our hearts and with each other. And I think this track really reminds us to do that. We can get very caught up, very busy, very stressed. And in the end, you know, whether we're talking about personal relationships, business relationships, we can always come from love in those. And I think that's just, you know, we all need that reminder, you know, often every day for that as well, with the world we live in.
Hush, little darling, don't you cry. Every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't worry, don't be afraid. Every little thing's gonna be okay. Open up your heart, unlock the cage. Turn the key and break the chains. Love will always find a way. If you want love, you gotta give love away. Give love, give love away. Give love, give love away. Give love away now. Give love away. Give love away. Give love away. Give love away now. Give love away. Your love is the best medicine. I shine like Edison whenever I let it in. Love is So what in the world are you waiting for? Give love. Give love away. Give love. Give love away. Give love. Give love away now. Give love. Give love away. Give love to your brother. Love to your father. Give love to your mother, your sons and your daughters. Give love to your sisters and all your friends. Shine your love in all directions. Give love. Giving and receiving is just like breathing when you live to give love. It gives life meaning, this feeling of kindness, and love's inside us. Nobody can sell this or try to buy this, cause love is righteous, and it might just save the whole world from this global crisis. So throw your hands up if you know what the time is. Open up your heart and let it shine the brightest. Love is all we need to get by. Love is all we need to get by. Love is all we need to get by. Open up your wings and let your heart fly. Love is all we need to get by. Love is all we need to get by. Love is all we need to get high. Open up your wings and let your heart fly. La 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 la. 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 Always remember, never forget, what we give is what we get. Give love. Give love.
Another thing that I like to do with all of my guests is I like to have a little delve into their past. And
Yeah.
so what I'm wondering is how did your vegan journey all start? How did it kick off?
Yeah, so I've always been an animal lover and always loved animals, always been very sort of protective of animals. And I did used to get challenged by people, yeah, but you eat them. I was like, it's different. It's a different thing. And it wasn't really a topic I wanted to engage in particularly. So I didn't effectively. But I was always very, very into health. I did eat a lot of plants. I knew that eating vegetables was very good for you. I knew that we shouldn't be eating too much sugar, all of this kind of stuff. So I sort of was a little bit on that plant health journey as well, and was sort of eating more of that stuff. But in terms of being vegan, that certainly wasn't there. And I went to India, and I didn't eat meat purely, I'll be completely honest, it's purely because I didn't want to get sick. I was like, I don't want to get sick. If I eat meat, I'm going to get sick.
So like lowering your chances of getting sick almost, like.
Pretty much. I was like, well, everyone goes, apparently everyone goes to India and eats meat and gets sick. I don't want to do that. And I, at first, was pretty annoyed. I was like, well, look, this is annoying. I want meat. I always thought I can't be full of vegetarian food. If I'm honest, I knew what a vegan was, but I was a bit like, I don't really get it. Like, why would, I get not eating meat and fish, but I don't really get the other stuff. Doesn't make sense.
Bit extreme, maybe? Like,
bit extreme, kind of like, you're just that annoying person who can't have that. It was a bit like I didn't understand. And I didn't back then. This was 9 years ago. So there weren't many, to be honest, there weren't many vegans around. It wasn't really talked about. I really did not know. To be honest, I didn't know any vegans. I knew vegetarians, but I knew what a vegan was and was like, well, that doesn't make massive sense, but like, fine, cool. And when I was in India, I was getting a bit annoyed, a bit arsey, like, I want to have some meat, but I won't because I'm going to get ill. And I realised I could be really full of lentils. And this was also a really important part of what I do now, and an understanding that I also got of why people are terrified of going vegan or going plant-based or even vegetarian, because I thought by even going vegetarian, I was like, yeah, but I won't know what to eat. I'm not going to be full and it's going to be horrendous. And it's better just to not even engage with the messages. That's easier. Thank you very much. Leave me alone. And when I realized I could be full of lentils, and obviously India's got the most incredible food you could possibly imagine. It's the best place to sort of discover that. And it was vegetarian. I went there, and I also had this thought when I was sitting on a train going, oh, when I get home, I'm going to eat jerk chicken and all these things because I'm not eating it here. And then I had this thought. I was like, you're in this like most amazing place in the world, and you can't wait to get back to like smelly London to eat some chicken. Like, go and check yourself, please. This is ridiculous.
It's like a reality check, like yeah.
Exactly. And then I also just thought, well, you're really enjoying this food, you can be really full. And then I literally remember the place I was sitting on this train where I was. And I remember saying to myself, all right, I'm going to look up this whole vegetarianism thing when I get home. Vegetarianism. The word vegan was not even there in my head. And I didn't even meet any vegans in India. I met other travelers who were like vegetarian. And then when I got home, I cannot even tell you what I put into Google. I do not even know what I put into Google, but I put something into Google because I said I'm going to look this stuff up. And I'll be honest, my whole world turned on its head. And I was like, oh my God, this has been happening. These animals have all been being killed. I thought, and I think what I was most angry about as a vegan, well, I wasn't vegan then, was this kind of I've been lied to. I've been lied to, actually. Like, I thought those cows were happy. You told me they were happy. You told me the chickens were happy. Like, you lied to me.
The stories that we sort of took on as like, oh, this is, people are telling us that they're having happy lives, and those kind of like myths, basically.
Exactly. And also the myths. And so being a vegan is about not being speciesist. So that is right. Okay. I don't put one species above another. So I don't say, right, I'm going to cuddle that cat but kill that cow. But I extend that completely. And I believe we all should, to humans. What also made me angry was the lies we were being told about our health. Not only was this lies, okay, so eat, lots of meat for protein. Yeah, meat does have protein in. But
and calcium.
Sorry?
Milk for calcium and
exactly. All of that kind of stuff. And if you don't, then you're going to get really sick and die. And those lies really upset me, because actually eating these products is causing huge amounts of, preventable diseases, heart disease, type 2 diabetes,
obesity,
all of these sorts of things. And people are still being told to eat like this. Even, there's a great picture that's somewhere, I'll send it's probably all over my social media, of what I looked like before I was vegan as well. And when, just even the lies of like a doctor giving me steroid cream for my acne. Like, look at my face right now. I do not have one bit of makeup on my face, right? And not being told, actually, you need to look at what's in your diet. No, I'm going to give you this steroid cream that's going to thin your skin and make you even more dependent on a drug to have the skin you want. When actually, you could just cut out XYZ and put in XYZ. And so there were all these lies going around. And I did get very, at the time, well, I got to tell everyone. You got to tell everyone. They'll want to know this. They'll all want to know this too. Yeah. That wasn't quite the case.
Sadly not.
As you can imagine. And I did start off doing, I've always been into, I know I'm going a lot into my story, and you can tell me to stop if you want.
It's all good.
I've always been really into tasty food. Food has always been the biggest pleasure for me. I stopped drinking when I was 21 for lots of reasons. But to be honest, the taste never really did it for me. I love food. I love indulgence. It's part of culture. It's part of sharing. It's beautiful. So what then really became one of my big missions was, okay, I don't want anyone to ever not choose the vegan option because the vegan option is bad, right? Yeah. Or I don't want anyone to ever not cook vegan or plant-based because the food's going to be bland, not fill you up. And I've done a lot of research on health. I studied biological anthropology at Cambridge, and that's only the start of my learning, if you know what I mean. I learned after. And it sent me on this journey, because I understood this, like, okay, the reason I didn't want to engage with any messages or even just eat more plant-based food was because I was like, well, I am going to be full if I won't be full if I'm even going to have a vegetarian meal. So I was like, right, how?
So were you like writing it off before you'd even eaten it?
Yeah. So before I went vegan, that was literally, if I went to a friend's who was vegetarian, I was like, ugh. Like, I'm not going to be full at their house. But the truth was, as well, I'll be honest, is some of them didn't know how to create a balanced meal.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is the thing is, so when people do say to me, look, I tried to go plant-based or I tried to go vegan and I was hungry, I'm like, yeah, I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah, because
You know,
there's less calories in plants than there is in meat products. So if you're not replacing those calories, then
yeah,
you're gonna be in a calorie deficit and not used to what the calories that you're normally used to sometimes.
yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And there's lots of other reasons, and you could have me talking for hours as to the reasons that we aren't full.
Yeah.
But one of them, for example, and I think this is really, really important for people to know and understand, and this is why I focused a lot of my coaching. So eventually, after setting up a recipe website with a friend, the Vegan Larder, all my recipes are still on there as well. And I recently left that business, but my recipes are still there, and we're still supporting each other. But I wanted to focus on my coaching. A big part of why I wanted to focus on the coaching is that I realized that people really were struggling with different things. And, you know, I help people who are vegan, non-vegan, people who don't even want to be fully plant-based, but they know they need to get more plants in, they know they need to be more plant-based, and they want to help their health and energy and be a healthy weight. And one of the biggest things that I teach people is this: why we need variety. So variety, of course, you say, oh, everyone is the spice of life. It's like, yeah, 100%. You know, we need variety to make things interesting. Because, okay, you know that feeling, maybe you've had this and you can relate. If you're made to eat the same food for days, you literally get bored and stop feeling full of it. Have you had that experience? Maybe if someone's just served you salad and hummus for 4 days in Greece or something.
I can't think back to when I've had that, if that makes sense.
All right, well, that's great. That means you've got variety, which is why you look so vibrant and healthy. Now, if we just eat the same thing, basically what our body starts to do is it stops satisfying us, and our body starts going like, oh, go and eat something else, go and eat something else, oh, go and fill up on something else, because it's literally our body going, you're not going to get all the nutrients in by just eating the same thing, right? And our gut thrives off variety of plants. Our gut, so our probiotics in our gut. So you know how a lot of people, this is also another myth, everyone's like popping probiotics, being like, oh my gut health, probiotics. That's the good bacteria in your gut, the good bacteria. You have to feed those good gut bacteria. If you don't feed them, you're going to put them in your gut and they're going to die, right? What they feed off is fiber or prebiotics, basically fiber. Fiber is in plants.
Only plants.
Only plants. It is not, you do not get any dietary fiber in animal products.
No.
So if you are not eating A, plants for a start to feed them, B, a variety of plants. So you're going to maintain a variety of good gut bacteria if you feed them a variety of fiber plant foods. So that is why we need that variety. That is not easy for people to do without support, understanding, and that is one of the big things I give people, without that being like a walk into your kitchen and how do I get more variety today, or what am I having, you know, that kind of panic people get that makes them just go, do you know what, I'm just gonna have egg on toast or whatever they reverted to before. And that is so but that's important for our health. You know, if we can't thrive ourselves, you know, we're not going to have enjoyable lives, we're not going to be able to do much with our lives as well, and we're going to have a poor quality of life later as well. So that's my very long-winded story.
It's all good. No, it's
about me and my journey.
It's all good. It's all good. And the reason I ask people is because I want people to see a different perspective on that path. You know what I mean? Yours was the realizing that you can get full and on plants. And you realised that you didn't need to eat animals, so it was that sort of change, I'm guessing.
Yeah, hugely. And do you know what? And actually, my parents are completely vegan now. Yes, it was me who did that. And they're fantastic. You know, my mum lost like 5 stone. Wow. My dad is winning matches for his county. He's like a veteran tennis player for his county. They're so super fit and well. It's like unbelievable. And this never would have happened if they hadn't become, I'm going to say plant-based. So they are vegan, but if they hadn't gone plant-based with their diet and really sort of started eating more whole foods. But the truth is that in terms of filling us up, the biggest thing that keeps us full is fiber. That's a huge part of it. And everyone sort of bangs on about the protein. Basically we need a balanced diet. We need all of the right things. But it is crazy. Like being plant-based isn't just, oh yeah, you can get full. You're like, holy crap, I'm full. Like it's unbelievable. I am more full now than I ever was, and I can go for longer without food than I ever could. And it's amazing when I speak to my clients where we kind of really give them an overhaul on their breakfast, and then they come into the next session and go, yeah, I got to lunchtime and I actually didn't want lunch.
So giving people the tools to tweak their diets.
Yeah.
So for the listeners who don't really know what whole foods are, could you tell me what whole foods are and why we should be eating more of them?
Yeah, sure. So a whole food basically means a food that hasn't been processed in some way or has been minimally processed. So, opposite ends of the spectrum, whole foods on one end, got my coffee cup on the other end. Let's put the coffee cup down. That will confuse people because I'm not talking about coffee. Whole foods on one end and ultra processed on the other. And I think
so, sugar, like refined sugar on the other end.
Yeah, refined sugar, very refined fats, artificial flavorings, things that have been extracted from things. But there is a scale. So sometimes, and this is also sort of myths I like to bust. People just see bats processed. And actually, you have to really look at the ingredients of things to understand if something's processed. Hummus is processed. It's more minimally processed. It's all processed. Then you get sort of all the way down to kind of more ultra processed. An apple. So an apple is a whole food, right? Once you puree it, even if you don't take anything out of it, but even if you puree it or cook it a bit, that's still a form of processing. But the more whole it is, the more fiber it has, the more your body is able to process it in a healthy way. So for instance, even if something, so something like fruit, and the fruit, it's so awful when I hear people say, oh, don't have fruit, all the sugar. Like there is literally virtually no maximum on like the amount of fruit you can have. Like if you are having whole fruits, and yes, there's sugar, but your body processes it in a completely different way. It's bound up with so much fiber. Your body is not going to absorb that sugar in the way it absorbs refined sugar. And fruit is full of nutrients, minerals, vitamins. Like you really, really need fruit. And the other thing people often don't think of with that kind of thing is, well, what would you be eating instead of fruit? So sometimes people go, oh, I'm not going to eat fruit because of the sugar. And I'm like, well, you've just literally eaten a biscuit instead.
which has refined sugar in it.
Which has refined sugar, unless you've made yourself a biscuit without refined sugar, or you've paid.
Very few people do that.
Very few people.
You know what I mean? So like it's the sugar which comes from a natural sugar, or they're saying a biscuit which has actual sugar, refined sugar in it. So you're
exactly.
I
mean, unless those people are eating carrot sticks instead. But all I'm saying is fruit is really good for us. Fruit is really healthy. We need to get more fruit. And actually people don't realize how many problems they're having with their guts, their weight, all sorts of things, because they're not eating enough fruit, because it's the number of people, when you really dig down into their problems, and they don't quite share this on Facebook, people suffering with constipation and IBS and all those sorts of things. And it's like, actually, fine. Sometimes people are quite far down a track that sometimes when they actually put more fiber in their diet, it can be a bit painful at first, but just in general, people are not putting enough fiber into their diets, and that is making them not as full, poor gut health, etc. So all of this stuff's really important, but I want to give people, and this is what I do, give them ways of very easily getting more whole foods into their diets to make sure that they are healthy for the longevity of their life without this taking hours in the kitchen. You don't have to calorie count. This is also, it's also thinking about healthy mindset. Our minds need to be healthy as well. And actually, in terms of the story before I was vegan as well, and a little bit during when I was vegan and trying to work out how to be a healthy weight without that being this struggle and fight with your body and, oh, I shouldn't have that, and restriction, is that when you're eating super healthily and whole foods, you don't need to count calories. Like, your body will just get full, and you'll just, you know, there's a bit more to it. And you can, you know, when people work with me in terms of understanding your body, but you do not need to calorie count. That is painful, it's difficult, and we are also different every day. You might have done more exercise that day. As a menstruating woman, you might be in a different point of your cycle where you need more energy from your food. Like, you know, this whole sort of, oh, you know, to lose weight, I've got to be on this many calories. Most of those people are people who are not a healthy weight, and they've ended up putting it all back on in some way. So that's also something that's very important for me to give people, is that clarity of mind, and not to have a poor relationship with food. You know, we should have a healthy relationship with food. That's also part of being happy. We don't just want to have high energy and be a healthy weight. It's like, yeah, that stuff's important, but if this is painful and our relationship with our food is not good, nothing in our day is good.
Okay. And so you mentioned fruit, but are there any other whole foods that you could help the listeners learn about?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So I'm going to say any plants, but I'll go more into that, because obviously you want to have variety. That's really, really important. Beans are fantastic, really fantastic. They are full of protein, and they also have some good carbs in them, but they are also full of fiber. They are going to keep you so full. Have a variety of them if you want a little tip. And you can actually go and find some of these on the Vegan Larder website. So if you make hummus, for example, you can make it with chickpeas, but another time, try making it with black beans. Make it with black beans and some smoked paprika instead of cumin, and have like a sort of more South American style hummus. Like, there's no rules to your food. And this is what I love, is that, you know, it's like, well, is that hummus anymore? It's like, are the police going to come around, you know, and arrest me for my black bean hummus? No,
people are going to love it. Like, people are going to love it. Yeah.
You know, go for it. So all of those, different grains, you want to be, you know, have different grains. Try some rye grain instead of rice. You know, amaranth, exactly. Try some things they'll just make your life more interesting as well. You know, people say they kind of get bored. Like, move your eyes a bit around in a supermarket a little bit more. You know, if you usually grab oranges, grab some grapefruit. You know, just really kind of think about your variety a bit more. It doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be like, oh yeah, but I don't have a miracle Whole Foods, everything glowing shop around me. It's like, it's cool. Supermarket, online, whatever it is for you, that's like totally cool. Go for that. It does not have to be super specialist, you know. And sorry, go on. You were going to say something.
It's all right. I was just going to say one step is better than no steps at all. Do you know what I mean? Because we have this like perfectionist mindset that people are like, well, I can't find quinoa, or I can't find green lentils or brown lentils, so I just won't do it at all. Do you know what I mean? So like you say, if the first step is just trying a grapefruit, because some people don't even have never really tried grapefruit or tried avocados. Do you know what I mean? It's that like, that first step is better than no step.
Yeah, I think that's so right. And I'm really pleased you said that, because in the end, the truth is we're never going to be perfect. So the thing is when it comes to sort of the health side, you know, I'm very real with my clients about what I eat as well. I'm like, yeah, I eat mostly healthy, of course, like I've got this pretty sorted. But of course, over like Christmas and Easter, I'm going to go, right, no more sweet things for a bit. And then I'm like, damn it, it's there. You know, of course, I'm not this like perfect person who's, you know, just got these exact meal. You know, that's not, I'm still a real person as well. And everyone is. And I think because people don't talk about those times or those treats, or when it's a bit harder, I'm very real, saying, do you know what, I have been a bit more stressed this week, and do you know what, I did emotionally eat a little bit more this week. That's fine. And it does
overall it's a balance though, right?
It's a complete balance. And in the end, you know, if we are mostly eating healthily, the truth is, and I also post food that I eat that's not so healthy that I've really enjoyed. I'm like, I really enjoyed this. Life is for living. Because I eat healthily most of the time, it doesn't matter when I've eaten that donut. None of that matters at all. No. And even people I work with, and who are, and I say this to people anyway, even people who don't want to be fully plant-based, it's like, doesn't matter, you know. And actually I think the sort of like plant-based movement, which is sometimes the same as the vegan movement, sometimes not at all, because it's just about the food side, I think it's really important to give people that option to say, like, look, let's just reduce as much as we can, and just kind of, you do you. You're going to try your best. Let's get you more healthy. Let's get more plants into your diet. Because what I don't want someone to do is, you know, they say, yeah, but I'm going to go to that party and I might eat something that's not vegan. And it's like, all right, again, the police aren't going to come round, you know. And actually, that one thing you've done, you've gone and enjoyed yourself at that party. It doesn't matter, because, you know, if you want to be plant-based most of the time, keep doing that, you know. But actually, I think if people think there's an all or nothing approach, whether that is to being plant-based or being healthy, people will very quickly give up, you know. And I know sometimes, I know vegans juggle a lot with that message, because they're like, yeah, but I don't want anyone to eat an animal product. And I get that. But in the end, for people to feel sometimes welcomed in, and
mistakes happen, accepting that mistakes happen, and it's the final goal of getting people vegan that is the goal, not chastising them on that route.
Exactly. And the fact is, the more, you know, people have whatever the goals they want working for me. So someone might say, well, I want to get healthier, and some of them are really like, I'm not going vegan, Vanessa, I'm not going vegan. I'm like, I didn't ask you to. It's all good. But the more they get into it, and the more stuff we're trying, the more things we cooked barbecue seitan spare ribs yesterday, you know, the more people are trying this stuff, they're like, oh, right, okay, like that could be cool. I could have that for dinner. And when despite my, oh my God, on the internet, when I saw like what was happening, I still took like 3 months to fully transition to vegan, because I needed to play around with food. I honestly, and I really honestly mean this, I did not beat myself up at all. I was like, okay, I'm going to have meat like once a week now. I didn't understand how to take dairy out of my diet, even though I'd been reducing dairy for years. So I just carried on with that, focused on kind of meat and fish. Then sort of started researching, okay, how do I make dairy-free cakes? You know, I just kind of started researching bit by bit, because I'm very competent with food, hence why I'm a recipe creator and a health plant-based coach, obviously. So it was, for me, it was very easy, and I just had fun. I was like, right, I'm going to try new vegan restaurants, going to try this, going to try that, etc., etc. And I think people need that freedom. And even though I was so competent with food, I still wanted to take a bit of time to move. And back then, you know, veganism is different to what it was now.
It's not as accessible.
No, not at all. So of course you can do it overnight, but you know, if you don't want to, that also doesn't matter, because it's also about making sure you're happy and healthy. So, you know, and that's why I also get my clients to take pictures of everything they're eating, so I can say, okay, cool. Even if, you know, whatever it is, there's no like judgment, that I can say, okay, the reason you weren't so full up is because you needed a bit more of this and a bit less of this. When people know how to do that, they've got the power, and they can take charge over their bodies and what they're eating. And so they're not going to go, oh, well, you know, I ate salad for 2 weeks trying to be vegan and it didn't work, and now I'm not, and it was awful and my hair fell out, or whatever one kind of says. Like, if they're able to do things really healthily, it helps their lives, it helps the planet, it helps the animals.
What I was wondering is, you personally, what are your like go-to meals and snacks?
What are my go-to meals? So I love my breakfast, which is a mix of things like nuts and chia seeds and quinoa flakes, topped with fruit, and more nuts and vegan yogurt and a smoothie. Like, that's kind of like super filling for me. And that's sometimes, you know, I have that meal, and then, you know, like, depending on, and this is also really important, depending on how much exercise I've done, depending on where I am in my cycle, maybe I'll have lunch at, you know, 12, 1 o'clock. Other times I actually may be full until like 4 or 5 o'clock. You know, it really depends. But other days I'll eat more, kind of thing. I love curries. I really, really love curries. It's going to sound really boring to say like a standard masala chickpea curry, because I make lots of different curries, but that one is still like, there's like this really nice comfort in it, you know, and it's got some coconut in there, which is delicious. It's got, you know, all of that fiber and protein from the chickpeas. It's got lovely spices and flavors. And learning how to cook with spices is really important, because not only does it make your food really delicious, but spices are secretly very, very good for our gut as well. So that's really, really important, you know, getting your ginger and your garlic into your food, you know, really, really important. And actually, if you're building this into your food in your daily life, then it doesn't have to be like, you know, getting up every day going, how am I going to get the nutrients that I need every day? You know, and that stuff, I get it. It stresses people out. But if you are just making food that is very varied, so my other kind of go-to is like a Thai curry or something like that. Different flavors, different, you know, I'll put tofu and aubergine in there versus tomato and chickpeas in my curry.
Would you marinate the eggplant?
No, I don't. I will saute it with the Thai curry paste.
Okay,
yeah, so it sort of gets, and with the, you know, onions and garlic and things like that, but I'll also sort of cook it nice. I've got a lovely Le Creuset pot that I bought myself, and that's so nice for curries, because you just can leave it simmering and just let all those flavors go into themselves together. Even more top tip, I find curries nicer the next day.
Oh mate, do you know what? I was literally thinking that. I was literally, as you were saying curry and talking about it 1 second before, I was like, they always taste better the next day. When you said about like leaving it in the pan and then all those flavors coming, I was thinking, 24 hours later, it's like even better.
Banging. So banging. And the other thing you don't have to worry about, so well, obviously everyone needs to manage their own food safety, but you know, I like to make sure my food is like fully cooled before it goes in the fridge. But I don't worry how long I've left my food to cool massively, because you're so much less likely to get food poisoning with plants. I mean, you can still get food poisoning. Everyone, please be careful of how you manage your food. But the chances are a lot less, and that's really fantastic.
And that's good. That's a really good point. Is that that it doesn't get talked about enough. Is that plants are safer all round.
They are, absolutely. And we're just doing so much good to our bodies and our energy, and also just, you know, even the stress of putting on weight, you know, like, I know it's not all about how we look, but that is related to our health. And a lot of people do say to me, like, I just want to look good and feel good and be in the clothes that I used to wear, and for that not to be a fight. And I want to be full on that. And if you're having those things like those chickpea curries with great grains, and you're having those, you know, really healthy filling breakfasts, then you're not going to worry so much about that stuff, you know. Get a big fruit bowl. I want to see fruit when I come into your house, you know. When I go into people's houses and I see zero fruit, and I'm like, what do you eat? You know, or there's no vegetables in the fridge. I'm like, what do you eat? So that sort of thing's important. Snacks. Do you know what? I'm going to say I'm not a snacker. And the reason for that is that because I'm so focused, and again, this is what I really help people with, because I feel like snacks are often more kind of calorie dense, the snacks people go for, than their meals. And I'm like, well, how about we eat meals that are so filling and give us a stable blood sugar that we don't need snacks. So if I do have a snack, it's usually just going to be some leftover meal. But, you know, that's really important, because I do ask people, well, look, if you had lunch at 1 o'clock, why do you need a snack at 3 o'clock? Obviously, because you're hungry. I get it.
Yeah. But it's not that you haven't fixed it at lunch if you're still needing snacks. Yeah. Exactly.
And then what we often have for snacks, even if, you know, because obviously, you know, carrot sticks, nuts, all those things are, you know, they're really good for you and they're great, but I still sort of question, well, why didn't that meal keep you full? So let's get a meal that keeps you so full that you're not needing snacks, which, you know, often will be, like I said, they're probably, you know, if people are having these snack bars, you know, you look at the what's in them, and usually they're not great. Even if they are things like dried fruit, for example. Dried fruit can be good, but that is going to be more calorie dense than other things. If you really, really want a snack, go for like some banana and nuts and carrot sticks, I would say. But in general, like, let's look at how balanced your meals are. Let's have meals that like keep you going for between 4 and 6 hours. Like, that is going to be what's going to transform your life as well, you know?
Sorting out the fuel in those meals, basically.
Exactly. That is much easier than sort of going, oh, I need all this list of snacks.
Okay.
Yes, still have your snacks, and that's certainly, like I said, something that I'll still help people with, but that is not my focus at all.
No, that's really interesting. It's good to hear your perspective on it, because I'm a big snacker, and as you're talking, I'm thinking, well, there's something I can do with my meals that will fill me more, and yeah, maybe I do need to tweak something in my food. That's interesting. It's really interesting. Thank you.
Welcome.
Vanessa, what track would you like to play next?
I would like to play, hold on a second, let me have a little thing. Oh, right. So I would like to play Red Hot Chili Peppers, Hard to Concentrate. And the reason is, like, when I used to go on these amazing holidays when I was younger with my parents. They used to take us to like Euro camps, and we'd drive through like France and Italy and everything. And as you can imagine, like three kids in the back of a hot car. There had to be a lot of, this is like 10-hour drives. Even when we were like a bit older, it was still like, with each other, as you can imagine, siblings. There had to be a lot of good music going on, and we used to listen lots of Red Hot Chili Peppers. And even though that album that it comes from, Stadium Arcadium, wasn't out when I was doing that traveling with my family, anything by the Red Hot Chili Peppers still kind of reminds me of those times. And how my parents like really enriched our lives and made sure we were making friends with people, that we were sort of managing ourselves and having social lives wherever we went, that we were seeing amazing cultural things, even if when we were a bit younger we had to be dragged a little bit kicking and screaming to some of them. I'm so glad we did all those things. So it just reminds me of those times.
Cells about to separate, and I find it hard to concentrate. And temporary, this cash and carry, I'm stepping up to indicate the time has come to deviate. And all I want is for you to be happy, and take this moment to make you my family. And finally you have found something perfect, and finally you have found death-defying this mess I'm buying. It's raining down with love and hate, and I find it hard to motivate. And estuary is blessed but scary. Your heart's about to palpitate, and I'm not about to hesitate. And want to treasure the rest of your days here, and give you pleasure in so many ways, dear. And finally you have found something perfect, and finally you have found. Here we go. Serve this woman and honor her beauty. And finally you have found something perfect, and finally you have found yourself. With me will you agree to take this man into your world? And now we are as one. My Lone Ranger, the heat exchanger, is living in this figure eight, and I'll do my best to recreate
Okay, so you're stuck on a desert island,
Okay.
and classic vegan question. But this one's got a twist. So you're stuck on a desert island,
There's
and
not a pig. There's not going to be a pig, is there?
there's no pigs. There's only plant-based foods. But
Nice.
yeah, it's much better. You only get to choose to eat savory food forever or sweet food forever. So which one would you go for?
So definitely savory, 100%. Even though I love sweet food, obviously life would not be as good. I'm also stuck on a desert island, so there's all sorts of things going on here. But it would be savory because that is the most important thing to keep our blood sugar levels stable. I'm going to give you a boring answer. Our blood sugar levels stable and be full and satisfied. And actually, what you find is when you really crack your savory food, yes, there's work to do on your sweet food so that we can have something more healthy. But when you really sort that out, you really don't want much sweet food anymore. And actually, if I had sweet food, say I just had like this endless supply of cheesecake, I would feel really, really sick. I wouldn't sort of feel full, even though like the idea of just eating cheesecake all day is actually like a beautiful idea. Just like, oh, cheesecake. And I am such a cake fiend. I love cakes and sweets and donuts, but I don't eat them very much because I don't feel the need to eat them very much. Because my body doesn't crave that. And actually, if you have the right savory food, you're not going to crave that. So my life is not going to be as good because there's going to be no cake, but I will choose the savory for that sort of better option of life.
No worries at all. Can you talk to me a little bit more about your coaching groups and the kind of results that you're getting with the people that you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I take people on who are some people are vegan and they've been vegan for like 4 years, but are like, I've put on all this weight and I'm clearly not eating healthily as a vegan and I don't know what a balanced diet looks like. And I like to say, like, problems with health and food education are a problem that's across the board. Doesn't matter like whether you're vegan or not. People do not know, a lot of people do not know what a balanced meal looks like. So I work with people who've been vegan for years. I work with people who just know they need to put more plants into their diet and they say, look, I've got to like, I don't know, 50. I work with people of all ages, but some people say, how am I going to run around after the grandkids? My energy levels are really, really low and I don't know why. I know I need to look after myself better. How the hell do I do this? I want to carry on doing exercise. I don't know what I'm doing. People of sort of all sorts, but in the end, what sort of brings everyone together is they all want to eat more plants. They all want to have a balanced, filling diet. They want to learn about how to make really delicious food. Like, food should be enjoyable. And that's why I'll say people love working with me because, this isn't just, what's a balanced diet. It's like, yeah, let's enjoy this really banging food that's going to give me pleasure for the rest of my life. Also, everyone who I'm working with, you don't have to be overweight at all because it's just about maintaining a healthy weight. But there are a lot of people I work with who say, well, I want a healthy weight and I don't know how to do that without restricting myself. Then I put it all back on. And actually, if you follow my program, you come on my program, it gears you towards a healthy weight anyway, even if I never said the word weight in it. But that is what we work towards, because a lot of people are struggling with that, even if they're saying I've got this bit of belly fat and I don't understand why. And actually, I want to kind of take more charge of my diet and my health. So in terms of results, people are seeing, people are losing weight. This is not a quick fix. This is not a crash diet. It's a long-term thing. So I'm not worried if I'm not seeing lots of weight loss. It's like, well, no, we'll get there. And it's about being happy and stable and long-term in that. People are having lots more energy, which is fantastic. And that's really important. They're saying they're able to do more, work out more. They're having quicker recovery times. Someone who worked with me, their joint pain was eliminated in like a few weeks from some changes to their diet and sort of going mostly plant-based and really upping the nutrients in their diet, upping their variety, which is really, really fantastic. People saying, and this is just a huge one, people saying, I'm full and I don't want it. I'm not having cravings. Like, one of the biggest one, like when people say, like, I used to just eat loads of biscuits every day because I felt like doing that. They're saying, I don't feel like doing that anymore. Like, my cravings are gone. Like, that is just amazing. Of course they're still going to eat some sweet stuff, but like I said, I go and have your treats kind of thing, but have it because you really want it, not because you're like, oh, my blood sugar's low or I'm craving this thing. We don't want to be craving anything. We really want to be in charge of what we're eating. So those are just some of the results people are getting, and people also getting organized and having the knowledge. People saying to me, I actually kind of know what I'm doing, and I know why I'm doing it, and I can survive without you now, Vanessa. That's what I want. Of course, I love it. I love having people with me, but you're not meant to need me for a lifetime.
From what I'm trying to, what I'm getting is that you're giving people these tools to get them on the right track, to help them see things that they can't see themselves. And then ultimately they'll be able to improve their lives without you. That's not, you're there to coach them and get them the skills up, and then they can thrive beyond that.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is having a structure and actual tools, understanding the best times to eat, understanding what a balanced plate of food looks like, understanding how to food prep. Like, that's not just like, oh yeah, make sure you food prep for the week. It's like, all right, how do I do it? And a big part of why I developed the program is I realized that a lot of people, there's a lot of things I don't know, but a big part was like, how do I actually practically build this into my busy life? And I'm a busy person, and I come at this from a very genuine point of view. I am also very busy, and so I've designed a program that fits around any person's busy life. So it's like, right, how am I going to make sure I'm food prepping really healthy, balanced meals, eating this stuff every day, where I'm also not in the kitchen every day. I have not cooked a proper meal like all week because I've had stuff in my freezer. I've prepped other little bits that go with it, or whether that's making a hummus, sorting out my breakfast, making my smoothie, chopping up extra carrots, steaming a few extra veg. But in terms of proper meals, like, people find it shocking. I literally have not cooked this week.
That's nice, because I would love that, because I get kind of some nights I don't want to cook. Like, it's not exactly. It's just I'd rather just have this pre-made meal that I'd like leftovers that you've put in the fridge, freezer.
Yeah, and that's really important, because the thing is like, what we don't want is to be super healthy but chained to our kitchens. What's the point in that? And actually having these this coaching on, right, what are all of my structures and shortcuts to making sure I've got all this food, because I've had a really busy week. So I've just, it's been so nice that I've not had to cook. I have had a meal out this week as well. So you build that into things, but that's just one meal. I just had one meal out. That's it. Everything else has been from fridge, freezer, etc., and it's still been nice, big, balanced, delicious meals. And like I said, only making the odd thing like, some grains, steaming veg, making a dressing, sorting my breakfast smoothie out, all of that kind of, those bits. I've still had to spend a bit of time in the kitchen, but you do not have to be cooking a lot less. Yeah. And people need to understand and know how to do that, and that's what I give to people and train people in. And people work very closely with me. So yes, we have coaching sessions every week, but we have an exclusive Facebook group where I can see what people are eating every week. So I can say, right, we really need to work on this, and this, because people need to fast track what they're doing. Like, there's nowhere else people are going to look at their food and go, that needs to change. No one's going to comment on each other's food, but if you're working with me, I am going to comment on your food, and that's what you're paying me to do.
You're going to be tweaking their food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people also get a bit of one-to-one time with me. I build that into my program so we can really delve into their personal challenges, problems, really keep them accountable, and also make sure they're eating delicious food. That's really, really important. And it's so wonderful to hear when people say, not only have I lost weight, know how to travel plant-based and stay healthy, know how to eat amazing food, or my energy levels are up. People just saying, I'm eating incredible food, that is incredible, varied, delicious food, and this is what life is all about.
Healthy and tasty.
Exactly. And that's and people don't often know how to do that. There's this idea like it's bland, it's this, it's that. It's like, no, it is incredible and delicious. I get so much pleasure out of showing people amazing food and teaching that to them and giving them amazing ideas, giving them, it's a structure. It's not just throwing ideas at them. It's like, right, how can we create really varied salads? Sometimes people are, oh, salad, all right, lettuce, tomato, cucumber. And that's not done. It's not varied. It's not filling. Salad is only ever one part of my dish, but there are so many incredible varieties we can do. Maybe chuck in a bit of roasted veg to that as well. Roasted veg that's had a bit of mixed herbs on it or something like that, and roasted garlic. That's just one idea for how we can vary up salads and make them really, really different.
Yeah.
And when people know these different varieties and understand that and have resources to go to on this stuff, it means it's very easy to say, right, what was I eating last week? How can I make sure this week I'm eating something very different, and having the exact know-how on how to food prep, so I'm not in the kitchen all the time.
No, that sounds like it's like a win-win-win. You're hitting all these points that's just gonna improve people's lives.
Yes, that was the idea. So thank you.
It's all right. No, that's all good. It's good, and it sounds really positive, and it's really interesting to get like an insight into your journey, and also how you're implementing it into your business, into your working life, and your life in general. It's just like it's going to be hopefully really helpful for people.
Yeah, thank you. And one thing I want to reassure everyone of is that I always want to live authentically, and this is something, not only does it genuinely work for my clients, but I'm in a very similar situation to everyone else, in the sense I'm ridiculously busy as well. Running around trying to do different things, don't want to spend hours in the kitchen. I want to be healthy. I don't have anyone making my food for me except me. I'm not ordering takeouts. I'm not going out for dinner loads. I really am having whole foods, cooked foods. That is what I'm doing for myself. My energy is genuinely high. I look completely different to what I did 10 years ago. There is no makeup on my skin. That is because of what I'm putting in my body. I used to have acne 10 years ago. Things have completely changed for me. And that's how I know it's possible, but it's also know it's possible because I've done it for loads of my clients as well.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. I was also wanting to sort of pick your brains about, so you've talked about whole foods, and you've talked about different meals that people can tweak and those kind of things. But also I wanted to know what you feel could be done more, what more could be happening in England around food education.
Oh, wow. Lots. I think lots. I think first of all, and I've been thinking quite a lot about this as well. And don't get me wrong, I don't know exactly what's happening in like schools and hospitals, for example, because I haven't been to a school or hospital for quite a long time. But I think making sure that the example people are being given, so especially sick people in hospitals, it's like, right, you're expecting these people to A, leave hospital soon, and B, like ideally not come back. I get everyone's got different conditions, and yes, for some people there will be lots of repeat visits, but as an ideal, let's face it, as an ideal, no one wants to come back to hospital. And even if you are needing to come back to hospital, we want to make sure we're having the best quality of life, even if actually you do have a life where you need to be in hospital at various times. We need to be giving people a really good example of what healthy looks like. And a hospital would be a great way of doing that. I remember being in hospital many years ago, before I was vegan, obviously. What really annoyed me was there was a cafe, I won't say them, there's nothing wrong with this particular chain. But I was like, why is this cafe here with loads of like unhealthy sandwiches and cakes and syrups to put in your coffee? I was like, where's the juice bar? I was in a sort. I was like, I want to get a smoothie right now. I want to get some really healthy kind of, even though I wasn't vegan, I was still very, very into health, which is because I've been studying health for a very long time and focusing on food prep for literally since I was like 7. I learned to cook when I was 7. That's how it's been like, where I think, right, I've got to give this knowledge to other people. But I was like, I want a healthy stew right now. I want my smoothie. I want fruit, and actually
a filling curry, a comforting curry.
Yeah, exactly, a comforting. Oh, beautiful. That's beautiful. And I was like, well, why is this in the hospital? And I get that they've won the government contract or whatever for that. But I'm like, yeah, it's more about this than money. Like, we're trying to get everyone well. It's pretty shocking. And someone posted a picture from a hospital recently of their vegan option, and it was literally just like this dry little vegan burger on a plate. And I mean, it was obviously social media worthy. And they were like, this was the option. God knows what happened. Like,
It's not good. So I had first-hand experience. I went to a hospital last year. I'd broken a couple of bones in my hand,
I'm
and
sorry.
it's all right. It's accidents happen. But basically, I went to the cafe there, and there was deep fried this, deep fried that, bacon, burgers, and just like I was just like there was like an apple at the end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like no, that's the opposite way round. You need to have like healthier foods and then a little bit of like
yeah,
processed deep fried stuff as an option as well. But
absolutely.
it just felt like it wasn't the right ingredients to get people healthy, in my
No,
opinion.
no, and do you know what? I'm going to go as far as there's scientific facts for your opinion. Like actually refined deep fried foods, lacking in fiber, lacking in nutrients, clogging up our arteries, making us more prone to type 2 diabetes and heart disease and all those sorts of things. It's like, no, that's not good. That's not also not going to give people the energy that they need. It's not giving them the education that they
No.
need. It's sending a really poor message if actually you're in something like a hospital. Apparently you're around doctors and the people who know about health the most, and you're being fed that. It's not really going to say to people, or actually this is how I should be living my life. What you want to do is actually, if you can plant little seeds when people are in these places and say, actually, like, you need to live differently, and here's an example of an amazing balanced meal, and actually we're not going to give you like biscuits and stuff. We're going to give you fruit instead. And
Yeah.
even and I talk about this in like workplaces as well. So I love doing workplace change, and I actually want to go into more workplaces. So if you have a workplace that you think needs help with healthy eating, I think the workplace is an amazing place you can influence people. People
Yeah.
are there, even if they're, obviously people are at home a bit more, but people are on their computers or in the workplace pretty much 5 days a week. Right, that is a huge opportunity to influence the way people eat. And sometimes people in workplaces, they see it's like, oh, like some workplaces are doing amazing work, by the way. Others are a bit more behind, but sometimes well-being can go a little bit more towards the mental health side. And even then, there's workplaces that are not doing enough. Actually, if you can switch out the biscuits you offer in the meetings for fruit. I mean, that makes more sense to the workplace anyway. It's like you want to fuel your people, not make them more tired, spike their blood sugar, make them more tired. Like, give them things that are fueling them and giving them energy. Almost think, what are your company values? Because every company, no company has like bad company values, right? They all have good company values. It's like, right, what food actually matches your company values? Things like caring for your people, caring for the environment, all of those things. It's like, all right, let's match the stuff people are physically consuming to your company values, whether that is in like giving people some coaching and having more talks on things, whether it is making sure there's more fruit available for people, the lunches and catering you offer. Like, what do your options look like? Even if they're not all plant-based, are you still giving people more plants, less fried food, etc., etc.?
Really good idea. Yeah, there are. I've seen a few companies that have sort of implemented that, like those positive changes, and
Yeah, for
I think it's
sure.
it's happening more and more around the world, isn't it?
It's happening so much more, and I think that's great. I mean, I've been in workplace change, and some of the stuff companies are doing with less, giving people more opportunity to work from home, choose their hours, and that is so important because companies are actually saying, well, we know you need a bit of time to food prep. That's so important that people are actually saying, actually, I know by letting people stay at home they'll probably eat healthier, because it gives them a bit more time. They're not kind of rushed and things like that. Some companies are very, very ahead, and that is incredible. So much credit to them, and they are going to attract more people to them as well. Because if people think, well, actually my health's going to be looked after here, that's a lot bigger. And then there are companies that do need to do a bit more work on that. Even what they're feeding their clients as well. When your clients are coming, you want your clients to be tip top. Make sure they've got healthy foods at lunch as well.
Nice, really nice. Yeah, thinking about because the happier employees help make the company, like the cogs of the company, just more efficient, and more happy employees make a happier business.
100%. That's it benefits everyone if everyone's happy. And actually, people are able to do the work. And it does really worry me when people come to me and they say, I have no energy every day. I'm really struggling at work. It's like, I bet your workplace doesn't know this, you know, and because they don't, it's like, they're not going to tell their manager, I struggle to get through every day and I have no energy to do the work you're giving me. And I think, I wish your workplace knew this, because even if they are doing, you know, better food and all that kind of stuff, if that person still does not know how to prepare really healthy food and create balanced meals for themselves, they are going to be struggling. And actually, I would, you know, I really, really want to work with more workplaces, especially as I understand the workplace from my change management days. You know, working with more workplaces to give people those knowledge, even if it's just talks, and then working with people who really want to work with me. You know, I'm very much only knock on an open door, as it were. You know, and if people are like, actually, that would really help me, I think that would be a fantastic investment for workplaces to make, you know, because it will make people more productive. It will make them happy. If you're happy, you know, someone comes home from work and they're exhausted and they can't enjoy themselves, they're not going to enjoy the next day at work, because they're going to resent it. They're going to be like, well, I couldn't do anything interesting with my personal life because all my energy, I've only got enough energy to just kind of get through the workday. We want people to be thriving on their weekends so that they work harder in the week, because they will. They'll be like, well, you know, I've been able to enjoy my life. Like, I'm ready for the workday as well.
So that's an interesting balance. Yeah, sort of generating a balance with life and work and happiness.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it is really, really important that they totally connect to the other. If people are really unhappy in their personal life, whether that's kind of through ill health or struggling with their weight or anything like that, like, you don't completely leave your personal self at the door when you go into work. Like, you are still you as a whole person. And if you've got those other things going through your mind and you are stressed and unhealthy and low energy, your work output is not going to be as good.
No, so it's actually better for the companies overall.
It is, and that's why, you know, I'd love this to, you know, like I said, some companies are sort of really going for it with well-being, and I love the well-being revolution that's happened across so many companies. It's fantastic, but like anything, we've still got a way to go, and this is the bit I would really like to help with, because I know I can.
Awesome. Yes, it's awesome. I've got a bit of a curveball question. So which country do you think will become the first vegan majority? And for those listeners that don't know what that means, is the majority of the population. So at the moment, not a non-vegan is the majority in most of the world. But which do you think will become the first vegan majority country in the world?
I think this is a really difficult question, actually, because I'm also going to say I'm not completely up to date with all my stats, but I believe Israel has like sort of the highest, you know, population per 100 people of vegans.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with them as like an easy guess.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah. Well, it's based on your current knowledge. So
yeah. I reckon, because that makes the most sense, and I think the more available this food is, the more we'll get that. I personally think that in the UK, we won't necessarily have the biggest majority of vegans, but if you spread it across how many days a week people are plant-based, we'll get close to that. I think we are going down a lot more of the flexitarian route, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think we, you know, however, there's different paths to get there. You know, people are becoming a lot more aware of the environment, things like that. I think people are focusing a bit more on reducing, and I think that's good, because it's making people feel able to come and ask questions and able to figure out what works for them. And I, you know, so I reckon we'll be, I don't know, maybe the biggest very flexitarian country, perhaps, where people are, you know, I think, and the amount people go plant-based is going to go up and up, like as they get more knowledge and they go, oh, I can make seitan instead of steak. Okay, that's one other meal that's going to go plant-based this week. I think as they discover these things, it will kind of get more and more.
Yeah, but, I mean, I this isn't part of my questions, but you've raised a really interesting topic about how plant-based is just booming in the UK, and it's everywhere, and it's available, and it's on the up, and from strength to strength.
It is, and I think it's so important. And you know, in the end, and I talk for ages about, like, you know, people say, oh, there are these processed vegan foods. It's like, processed food is not a vegan problem. It's just a food thing we have. And actually, those people eating a processed vegan burger would only have eaten a meat burger, they would have eaten fruit instead, and actually, and I'm going to come back to balanced meals, because I always come back to balanced meals. My worry is not actually, people are also really busy. And another thing I say is, make sure you do have in the freezer or fridge something for one of those nights that you're like, I'm just going to have something convenient. My question is, what else is on your plate? That's fine. Just fine. Have a vegan burger. Great. If you just have a vegan burger in a bread bun and that's your dinner, I'm going to say, okay, we need to chat. We need to chat about that. Okay. That is not a balanced meal. What else do you have on your plate that is filling, full of fiber, healthy, full of nutrients, all those vegetables, sweet potato chips, whatever it is you're having? That's the stuff I'm thinking about. And I mean, homemade sweet potato chips, ideally. That's what I'm thinking about. And and actually it has really helped those people, because they might be saying, right, I'll throw that other stuff on my plate, but actually it's going to really help having that amazing chorizo burger. These foods are really, they're helping people discover new food. They're opening people's eyes, whether they are vegan or non-vegan. They're giving people cool ideas. They're helping for the nights that people need a bit of convenience. Better for the environment. It's not killed an animal. Yeah, fine. Are they the pinnacle of health and whole foods? Often not. But the other thing I'll also say is, check your ingredients for a start. Some of them are healthier than others. Even if they are not, even the ones that have other stuff in them,
there's no cholesterol. There's no cholesterol.
There's still also a lot of protein in these. They're made from plant proteins. And they are tasty and different and chewy and fun. Like I literally think they are incredible, and they are what is massively accelerating the flexitarian movement here. So I don't have criticism of those at all, and I love trying them. I love trying the new products. I love being involved with that. Yes, I have some of them in my freezer. Do I eat them every night? No, I do not. But I do have them occasionally. They're great to take to a barbecue as well with friends, and they are great for one of those convenient nights. And that's what they're designed for. I don't think the people making them think you're going to eat one of those burgers every night.
No.
And they're not suggesting it. But they are, in terms of, if someone says, oh, well, you might as well just eat a meat one. No, they are definitely healthier. They are better for the environment. They haven't killed an animal.
So to sort of wind up the interview, I'm wondering what you're having for your dinner today.
Yeah. Oh.
And what you're having for your breakfast tomorrow.
Okay. So I've had marinating last night. So this is what I mean, the little bits I do in the kitchen. So I've been invited to a barbecue, which I'm going to go to, Caribbean style. So I have made my jerk marinade and marinated some tofu. Nice. That jerk marinade is on the Vegan Larder website. It is a jerk tempeh recipe, but I've used tofu instead of tempeh. They are both made from soya. This is an organic tofu, which I advise people to have. Organic tofu, most tofu you find in the shops is organic as plain blocks. I'm really excited about this jerk tofu. I'm going to put it on skewers. It's in little cubes, and I'm going to bring some yogurt with me and put some like herbs, like mint herbs in the yogurt that's going to go with it, so that everyone's like, oh my god, vegan food doesn't know so good. That's our role at barbecues, right? That's our role at barbecues, to be like, that's what I'm bringing. So I'm very excited about that. And apparently they are making me, they're making a vegan dish. They're going to make ackee and mushrooms. So ackee is the national fruit of Jamaica. So the girl who's having the barbecue, she is Jamaican origin. It's very exciting. I'm also Caribbean origin, so I love those flavors. So that's going to be there. So that will probably be dinner. And then for breakfast, it will be my usual superfood breakfast smoothie, and all the nuts and fruits and chia seeds and quinoa flakes, that'll probably keep me full until like 3-4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I'm not often a normal food eater. This whole culture of, we have lunch at 12. It's like, we have lunch when we're hungry.
Yeah. Listen to your body a bit more.
Exactly. As it, your body will tell you, and we are not the same every day. If I've been working out a bit more, or like I said, if I'm in this, this is so important for women who are, whatever stage women are at with their hormones. We need more food and fuel in the second half of our cycle. So that's the time before our periods, and during our periods, our metabolism is actually higher and our energy is a bit lower. So you can eat a bit more and exercise a bit less.
Little tips thrown in the mix.
I mean, I can go so deep. That's like a whole other radio show talking about women's hormones. Very excited. Yeah.
Okay. So to sort of round up the show, where can people find and follow your work, and what track would you like to end the show with?
Of course. So where can people find my work? So please join my free Facebook group. It's called How to Go Plant Based. And there is fun discussion. You do not have to be vegan. You don't have to be plant based. You just need some curiosity about plant based food. And it is fun. It is tasty. And it's a lovely community there. And you can ask me whatever questions and get support from me in there. So that's How to Go Plant Based. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm Energise, spelled with an S. The English way, Energise and Thrive Plant Based. And basically, yeah, those two things, those are probably the easiest ways of following me, actually. And if you join my Facebook group, there's an option to join my newsletter where you'll get even more exclusive tips from me, and you'll also get more information on my coaching program. I do sort of open up some slots to have a consultation, so a healthy living discovery call with me to find out if we're a good match to work together and if I can help you, and we can have a chat and I can find out more about you. So if you'd like that, you can DM me on my Instagram, Energise and Thrive Plant Based, or you can just go into my group and you can find me in there. You can DM Vanessa Sturman in that group as well, and be great to have a chat. Let's see if I can help you.
Amazing. And then let's finish with a track for the show.
Oh, do you know what? I think we will go for Tina Turner, The Best, because I think it's a very it's quite a romantic track. It was the track that was used a lot in Schitt's Creek, which I loved. And I know it's a brilliant show. Sorry if people haven't seen that, but I think it's also just, it reminds me, just how much uniqueness everyone has, and how much potential everyone has. And I think we're very encouraged to be critical of ourselves and of other people. And it's just, I just think we need to remember our own genius as well, and how much there is, and how much we need to appreciate that in other people and tell each other more, actually, like, you're amazing at that thing, and you are just amazing generally. And I really appreciate your difference to me. I really appreciate what you're able to do, and that's beautiful. And that's, that track always reminds me of that.
Okay, that's really lovely to finish the show. Thank you for your time, Vanessa. It's been really interesting hearing all the things you've been up to, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely talking to you. And if you ever want me to talk about hormones and things like that, I can come back and talk.
Yeah, there's loads of options. No worries. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye.
I call you, I need you, my heart's on fire. You come to me wild and wild. You come to me, give me everything I need. Give me a lifetime of promises and a world of dreams. Speak the language of love like you know what it means. And it can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it strong. You're simply the best, better than all the rest, better than anyone I've ever met. I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say. Tear us apart. Baby, I would rather be dead. In your heart, see the stars.